Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, my insane homeowner association deactivated my key fob to effectively imprison me in my own private home, claiming that I am sick and dangerous. They did not let me out for 2 weeks and I ended up suing these dirtbags. Here is how you get revenge on an HOA. Let's dive right in. So this story happened to me about 2 years ago when the pandemic was at its peak. Like most people around the world, everybody I knew was scared and wanted to do things to try and keep ourselves safe. For me, this is important because I suffer from asthma, making me more susceptible to getting very sick if I caught the virus. But anyway, my HOA wanted to help protect the neighborhood, but honestly, the things they were doing was just making it worse. They sent us pamphlets in the mail with all kinds of information which sounded good at first, but it ranged from legit to gossip. It resulted in scaring people more than helping keeping them calm during this time. One important thing of note is that I live in a newer community, and the HOA decided that wireless and smart device technology was the best way to make the area look good. One thing that means is that the locks on our doors wear a key fob instead of a standard physical key. It was a weird adjustment, but I got used to it. What I did not know at the time was that the HOA president actually had copies of the fob for all of the homes in the neighborhood. He never used or did anything with them to my knowledge until the pandemic started. Everybody in my area was really good with staying home and only going out unless it was really needed, wearing masks and quarantining if you tested positive. Of course, no matter what, people were going to get it and word would spread faster than germs. The HOA president decided to take it upon himself to add a layer of extra security, which I will get back to in a minute. So first, I just want to say that due to my asthma, I tend to have a chronic cough at certain times of the year. It is very annoying, and you can imagine how with the pandemic I would get way too many looks. I was being careful and testing if anything felt really off though, so I can say for sure that during the time of the story I was not sick. Still though, I got a call from the HOA president and answered it, assuming it was an update about staying at home and the same stuff as usual. Me: "Hello Mr. HOA, can I talk to OP?" Me speaking: "HOA, I wanted to call to let you know that I was made aware of you breaking quarantine rules and leaving your home yesterday." Me: "I went to the store, nobody in my household has the virus, so I'm not actually under quarantine." "Did you maybe mean to call the neighbor down the block that has the same first name as me?" HOA president: "No. We have seen and heard you coughing. You are clearly sick and meant to stay home. I insist that you don't leave the house again until you're symptom-free." Me: "Oh, that's just my asthma. I actually took a test a few days ago and it came up negative, so I am fine." HOA: "Asthma does not cause coughing. You are clearly sick and you're gonna infect the entire neighborhood if you don't stay inside." He hung up and I was mildly annoyed at being accused of putting people at risk. At the same time, I understood the concern. I was not gonna do the things that he asked me to since I was not actually sick with anything. I guess he did not like my answer because he decided to take his security measures and implement them. My key fob then stopped working the next day, which was a pretty big problem for me. It meant that I had no way to lock my door or unlock it. I was not gonna just leave my door unlocked, so I was forced to stay inside until I figured out how to deal with it. I assumed the battery died, so I called the HOA to request a battery change of my fob and how to go about it. Instead, I got transferred to the HOA president that told me the battery was fine and he deactivated mine and activated his version to my house. I got mad and asked him why the hell he would basically take over the ability to lock my door. He said that he was protecting the community from my disease and this way I was forced to quarantine. I explained to him that he did not have any kind of authority over my house and I wanted my key activated again. He flat out refused and said that he would do it after I was not coughing and being contagious anymore. I was living alone at that point because my husband travels for work and unfortunately got stuck in another part of the world. This meant I could not go out to do anything I needed without leaving my door wide open. And I just knew if I did that, the HOA president would walk right into my house and do who knows what. I had nothing to do, so I spent a lot of time online trying to find lawyers that specialized in suing HOAs. The only thing was that because of the pandemic, the courts were very backed up and non-emergency cases were getting pushed. This meant I had no ability to do anything until about 2 weeks later, when he deemed it was okay for me to come out of my house. I warned him that I was in the process of suing the HOA and once again demanded his key to my house. He just laughed and walked off like he didn't believe anything he did was wrong. After more talk with my lawyer, we had a solid plan and could now only wait for the courts to pick back up again with civil cases. In the meantime though, I contacted other neighbors that I knew had the virus before and asked them if the HOA president contacted them and deactivated their fobs as well. A couple of them actually had that happen to themselves, but they assumed that the HOA was in the right to do so. When I told them it wasn't, they were quick to jump on board with me to strengthen the case. Finally, after about 20 months of waiting, we were finally given a court date and could present our case. My lawyer did pretty much all the talking, and I just had to confirm the details of my side of the story. The good news is that part of the HOA protocol is that they record all their conversations, and I guess he was too cocky to even try to delete it. He was getting questioned a lot and at that point revealed that he had keys for all the houses in the neighborhood for safety. This of course went way too far beyond anything an HOA was allowed to do, and he was told off for it. Also, he was told that in no way did he have the authority to place somebody under quarantine like he did with me. In the end, a settlement was reached, and in total the HOA had to pay a ton of money to everybody included in this lawsuit. I got about $300,000 in compensation for what he had done. He was not facing any actual criminal charges that would send him to jail, but the HOA losing all that money did have an effect. I think he was really into it for the chance to steal money, and now that none was left, he quickly decided to leave the HOA. Maybe he was worried about other secrets getting dug up, but that I will never know. And yeah, Ripe Stars, this story actually reminds me of these pandemic stories from China, where city officials pretty much welded homes or apartments shut so people cannot leave in case they are infected, or maybe sometimes when even they weren't infected. It's crazy to think that this kind of stuff happened only 1 or 2 years ago. Either way, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoy my content. Thank you so much. The next one is titled, "They Want the Keys to My House." So there are 5 people in this event: M, Mom, SD, Stepdad, D for Dad, and ESM, entitled Stepmom, as well as me. So first, a little bit of backstory. My stepmother and I never got along from day one, especially when she turned into a more and more entitled stepmother. When I got into my later teenage years, and it was the reason that I moved out of my father's house to live full-time with my mom, despite their custody agreement. Details are not that important, but the list is a hefty one. The important one for this account is snooping. ESM has to stick her nose in my life, room, car, job, health, etc. to a comical degree. She has also done some pretty pointless petty things like giving me a false key to her and my dad's house when he got rekeyed for reasons I still don't understand. This is also important. So on to the most recent ESM moment. Phone call from ESM to me. ESM, I want a key to your house when it closes. Me, no. ESM, what no? You will give me a key. Me, a key or a fake key? You are not specific. ESM, a real key to the house. Me, and why would I do that, given your track record? ESM, because I'm your parent. Quit being flippant. Me then laughing. ESM, I don't see what's so funny. I'm asking for a key and I will get one. Me, you're asking? ESM, you're demanding a key of your 25-year-old stepson who owes you nothing. Oh yeah. And by the way, I want my dresser back too, as we agreed upon all those years ago. ESM, I'm not giving you the dresser back unless you give me a key. Me, so you're gonna steal from me because the dresser couldn't make it up the stairs and you're throwing a fit because I won't let you snoop? ESM, young man, you have a history of making poor choices and it's my job to correct them. I couldn't do it while you were in Ohio, and now that you are back, I will get you back on the straight and narrow. I should point out that my poor choices she was talking about involved eating in my room while doing homework, watching TV with my girlfriend when I was a teenager, and not going to bed by 10 p.m. In essence, she is a nutty conservative Christian woman who gets mad at me for anything that's not in her micron-sized list of appropriate actions for me. Me, you won't be getting a key, and because of you, D won't likely get one because you cannot be trusted. And then ended the call. Not 5 minutes later, my M and SD are rolling on the floor laughing because she had called them demanding that they talk some sense into me and make me give her a key. Neither my mom nor stepfather can stand my ESM. Here is where she truly shines for the ESM though, rather than just being demanding and a snoop. It happened the following day. It's important to note that I am high off my tits on painkillers after my back spasms sent me face first into the floor from their strength. ESM, hey me, have you thought about giving me a key? Me, no, you don't get one. ESM, even for your favorite step-parent? Me, hysterical laughter, I like cat poop more than I like you. ESM, fine. You will then lose your car. I forbid you from driving and I'll expect your keys tonight. Me, you wanna take the keys to a car you don't own? Or pay anything on because you won't take no for an answer? ESM, I'm your parent. I hung up after she started yelling. She showed up at my mother's house 10 minutes later, demanding my keys to my car because she was revoking her permission for me to drive and we had to call our neighbor, the off-duty cop, to come over and speak to her. I would not be surprised if she tried to put a lien on my car. More insane things have happened. It's so bad that my dad is agreeing that he should not get a key but won't leave her because of her usual entitled behavior. This is just the most recent in a long list of this kind of behavior. And the next one is titled, Speaking is not allowed. Today I was babysitting my neighbor's daughter, 2 years old. It's not the first time I babysat for her. I love this little girl. She's the cutest thing in the world. But anyways, I told my neighbor that I had a few errands to run and she was fine with her daughter being with me. I went to the mall to return a few things and I went into Macy's to try on some shoes while Layla was sitting in the chair looking at what I was doing. I asked her, do you like these shoes? And Layla just said that they are so cute. Then I asked, do you think we should buy these shoes? And Layla is just repeating shoes, being all happy. I was basically having a conversation with myself in Spanish. I then say, come on Layla, let's go pay, and then we could go get ice cream. Now here is where the entitled grandma comes in. She was in the same selection as us with her grandson, maybe 3 or 4 years old, but I was not paying any attention to her before this. She says, you should not be speaking to her in Spanish, you should teach her English. She will benefit from knowing English more. I'm not shocked, this is not the first time someone has told me not to speak Spanish. I just took a deep breath and said, we are both Dominicans, which means our native language is Spanish, and yes, she was born here, so she's learning to speak both languages. Grandmother did not like me talking back to her and continues to say, your daughter is gonna start school soon, so she will need English more, and you live here anyway, so there's no need for her to speak Spanish right away. At this point, I know this lady would not listen to reason, so I just gather my things and picked up Layla ready to leave. Grandma then continues to say, I just want the best for her. Like the F, I was pissed. First, how is Layla not knowing her family's language? How is that good for her? I lost my cool and said, lady, please F off, I don't care for your advice. She was shocked and I walked away before she could say anything else. Honestly though, why do people think it is right for them to tell other people how to raise their kids? And to clarify, the only reason I never corrected her when she said your daughter was because she looked like the type of person to get security on me and say that I kidnapped a kid. I honestly don't understand her logic. Last time I checked, being bilingual was a good thing. Sorry for all the mistakes and formatting, but please let me know what you think. And yeah, ripe stars, obviously this story is not very hard to judge. OP is obviously not in the wrong here, and trying to raise a kid in a bilingual way is probably one of the best things you can do. This old grandma just needed a lesson and she was absolutely stupid. But anyway, let me know whether you think OP was the a-hole in this situation or not. Anyway, the next one is titled, Do You Deserve the Diamond? For context, I am 25 female and my parents have been divorced for 15 years. My dad has been married to his wife Laura for 10 years. Laura has 2 daughters, Katie, 26 female, and Sam, 22 female. My dad is very close to Katie and Sam and considers them to be daughters to him. The grandfather I'm referring to is my dad's father. My grandfather has a diamond ring that belonged to my great-grandma, and it's something of a family miracle. Since my grandfather managed to find it after World War II, unfortunately, he lost his mother and sister in the war, so he saved the diamond to be for the next woman in the family to be set into an engagement ring. Now, my grandpa has a thing about blood and family, namely, if you're not blood, you can be family, but you're not in the family. I'm pretty sure this is somewhat related to his trauma, but it might be a generational thing. Because of this distinction, his sons were not allowed to use the diamond for their wives' rings, because then the diamond would belong to the wife and the wife is not blood. I am his only biological granddaughter, so it was always presumed that the diamond would go to me. I got engaged last year and I did not end up using the diamond for the ring. The diamond diamond was not the color or cut of the style I wanted, and my grandfather knew that. He offered to have the diamond recut, but I begged him not to because it's very valuable and I know how much it means to him. And he agreed that when I get married he will set it into a necklace to be worn on my wedding day instead. Now, Katie is going to get engaged soon. My dad is likely to be asked to walk her down the aisle. Laura asked that my grandpa give her the diamond for her ring since she is basically my father's daughter. My grandfather said, and I quote, "Not even over my dead body," and that the diamond will stay in the family. That said, Laura, my dad and Katie are now extremely upset. My dad suggested maybe I could ask my grandpa to let them use the diamond, since I had not used it for a ring anyway, and that he considers Katie part of his family and will be forever. So it should be okay for her to have it, especially since she is older, so the first woman as it were. My grandpa would probably relent if I asked him, but I said no, because I would feel too guilty. That diamond is all my grandpa has left of a family he lost in the most horrific circumstances when he was 9 years old. They don't even have graves. That stone is literally all he has to remember them. What right do any of us have to dictate what he does with it? Katie, Laura and my dad have all been texting and calling about how hurt they are that I'm letting my grandpa exclude Katie from the family and that I already have a ring. Why can't I just help my grandpa soften up and let Laura and her kids be part of the family? I'm holding firm on it for now, but should I be? And yeah, Ripe Stars, let me know in the comments whether you think what OP is doing is a good thing or not. I am very curious what you have to say. Anyway, a comment on Reddit quoted the part where OP said that the diamond is all the grandpa has left of his family that died in the war. And well, clearly the commenter says that OP is not the a-hole for this. Another comment said, not the a-hole, as much as they may be upset, it is not theirs. Your grandpa wants it to go to someone genetically related to him, not to someone brought into the family by marriage. His reasoning is exactly the same reason he did not give it to the women marrying into the family, and the grandpa has a right to say no. Your dad and stepsisters will just have to get over it. Because the hard truth is, they are not his grandchildren. They are step-grandkids, and family heirlooms don't typically pass down to stepchildren, especially with an older generation. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I would tend to agree there. I don't think that really anybody has the right to tell this grandpa what to do. It is his diamond after all, so they should not feel entitled to having it. And the next one is titled, EP wants to know what I am doing in my own home and then demands I stop so I can do errands for her in the morning. Another story about crazy pants. This one is not very good, I am afraid. The next one will be better, but this one features my dad, who Crazy Pants was often at war with. Quick summary, Crazy Pants was my incredibly nosy and entitled neighbor with 2 adult children who were spoiled and greedy. This woman seriously believed she was in charge of everyone in my street. A little background for this. Years ago I moved back home to help my mom look after my dad as she was struggling. My dad has multiple conditions, angina, diabetes and arthritis amongst them. Then sadly my mom passed away, so dad was completely on his own. My dad could fill a subreddit all on his own with stories as he has a foul mouth and is known for being a complete bastard to people who annoy him. You will see this later, but he cannot get around like he used to and relies on me to keep him out of trouble and keep things ticking. Thankfully, because my job is from home, I can look after him. Now, sometimes the people I work for are based in other countries, so when I talk to them online, it can be late at night or early morning because of the time difference. CP's children don't live with her, the daughter does not work while the son owns some of the property near us and rents it out. They are very well off, having both married into money. Meanwhile, I don't get a lot of free time because I work. I am a carer for the grumpiest yet somehow lovable git on the planet, and I have my own chronic illness on top. Now to the main story. I had just been talking with a client. It was about 2 AM in the morning and I was downstairs. The living room light of course was on because I'm not an owl. I was typing up something when there was a banging on the door. I was worried as we had in the past had drunks at the door mistaking our house for some friend's place, and you never know what they may do. I open it carefully and there is CP. You can guess the key here. CP:
Excuse me, why are you awake?
Me: sorry? CP:
I wanna know why you are awake.
Me, did we wake you up or something? No noise had been made and there was no way CP would have seen our light on without leaving the house. In fact, she would often step out and do a late night inspection of the street, like she was looking for contraband. CP, I don't think you should be up this late. Why are you up? Me, I don't think it is any of your business, but since you ask so sweetly, I am working. CP, but it is 2 AM. Me, and it is my home. Are we now just pointing out random facts? Because this game is boring me. CP, you should be asleep. Me, and yet here you are, wide awake. Isn't it a miracle? We should form a club. I'm supposed to be going to the hairdressers at 10 AM, and I don't want you too tired. Now this has me super confused and I don't know how to respond for a few moments. Me, excuse me, what does your hair appointment have to do with me? CP, well, I was going to get you to drive me to it. ED and ES have important things to do, and you already do a lot for that very rude man. The least you can do as a neighbor is give me a lift. Me? What the? Are you completely off your rockers? CP? What is the problem? You do stuff for your father all the time. Me? I would also like to point out that I don't drive, let alone own a car, and even if I was up for letting you sit on the handlebars of my bike, why would I be taking you to the hairdressers? You have a daughter and a son with multiple fancy cars. Get one of them to take you or get a taxi and stop bothering me over what I do in my own home. CP? But they work. Like hell they do. I cannot bother them. You are home all day. Me, I work from home, like I was doing before you banged on the door, and now please go away. It was at this point I discovered my dad had been woken up and was now leaning out of the bedroom window listening to the whole thing. Dad, CP, why don't you mind your own damn business and piss off? CP scurries away upon the sight of grumpy dad's man nipples and I go back inside. The next day the daughter arrived to take mother dearest to the hairdresser. I was coming out to walk the dog and got death stares from them both. It was at this point my dad opened the living room window and shouted at CP. D, and get your damn mustache waxed. Thanks for making it less awkward, Dad. Next story, when ED and CP tried to con the council to pay for ED's BMW and get an innocent man fired. Anyway, update to the story, I didn't expect lightning to strike twice. I will quickly answer a couple of questions I keep seeing. Firstly, I'm in the UK and if it comes across that I may be from other places, it is because I was raised in a dual nationality household plus a multi-nationality extended family, and I am also used to interacting with people from all over, so I have picked up certain language habits I'm always trying to get over. Secondly, I answered the door as it may have been an emergency. I live in a relatively sleepy village, so the likelihood of it being anything more than someone who has drunk too much cider is slim here. Some of my neighbors are old and some have children, so people do try to look out for each other. Finally, I've been asked about my illness. I don't really want to go into massive details as I'm not looking for pity, but I was in a bad accident years ago and it triggered a few issues including fibromyalgia. It's nothing for anyone to worry about on my behalf, I just need to use things like a cane or a joint support sometimes. I would also like to say that I know even more parents out there who are amazing and have to deal with so much in the way of work, health and exhaustion, and while there are many crappy people in the world, don't allow them to dull your ability to extend compassion and understanding. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to check out my playlists for more awesome videos. Also, if you haven't already, I would very much appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss any videos. Thank you so much, I will see you again tomorrow.